Maneuvers by the Pakistani engineers are simply astounding. They've not only surpassed the realm of repairs, but also ventured directly into the domain of sand casting, and then, through precision machining, transformed rough castings into exquisite finished products. With such a development trend, reaching the moon seems inevitable for them. The engine cylinder head of this truck is severely worn out. Even traditional repair methods cannot salvage it, and spare parts are unavailable. So, the craftsman here had a bold idea, which is to recast it through sand casting. However, this is no easy task, as the cylinder body contains many complex water passages, oil passages, valve ports, bolt holes, and injector holes, many of which are irregular. So now the craftsmen need to use a saw to divide it in two, to facilitate the subsequent molding work. However, once it's divided, they cannot immediately start the sand casting process, because the original cylinder head's interior has severe rust and wear in the water passages. So now, the craftsmen have to use filler to level out the severely worn areas. The surface of the cylinder head also needs to be covered with precisely cut paper, leaving room for machining allowances. Once the paper is applied, the edges must be carefully polished, to ensure seamless alignment during the subsequent molding process. For the positions that need to be drilled, the craftsman will first use a hammer to tap, marking clear positions, and then proceed with drilling the holes. Once both sides are properly treated, the craftsman will carefully inspect them when joined together, to ensure a seamless fit. However, this isn't the most challenging part. The most challenging part is refreshing the interior of the cylinder head. It's as difficult as making a new engine model. It's truly unbelievable that they can use some simple tools and pure manual labor to accomplish it bit by bit. Workers in Pakistan are indeed proficient in every aspect, be it machining, carpentry, or welding. After a morning of hard work, the craftsmen finally completed all the preparations for the molds. Now they can proceed with the sand casting. The first step is to create sand cores. To facilitate demolding, a layer of mold release agent will be applied to the molds beforehand. After applying the mold release agent, the next step is to fill the molds with molding sand and then compact it. Once the rammer is opened, the desired sand core shapes can be obtained. Similarly, the cylinder head is operated using the same method, but it requires separate top and bottom molds to accommodate the sand cores. Next, the craftsman will use a spray gun to heat the inside of the sandboxes, removing any residual moisture and reducing the risk of bubbles forming during the casting process. Then, a blow dryer is used to remove impurities from the surface, facilitating the installation of sand cores. This is a crucial step, as the sand cores must be placed accurately. Otherwise, all previous efforts would be wasted. Once all the preparations are complete, the iron blocks are heated to 1500 degrees Celsius in the furnace, turning into molten iron instantly. Workers then use ladles to catch this hot molten iron and carry it to the pouring area for casting work. After the casting is completed and the molten iron has solidified, the sand falling process begins in full swing. Even though the castings are still very hot at this point, the workers must proceed with sand falling while they are still hot. This helps reduce the stress and deformation that the castings may experience during the cooling process. The higher temperature also aids in the uniform cooling of the castings, reducing the risk of cracks or defects. After the sand falling process is completed, the rough cylinder head is revealed. It is then sent to the planer for rough machining. With a rhythmic back and forth motion, the tool begins its work on the surface of the cylinder head. Each stroke smoothens out the unevenness, gradually making the cylinder head flat and smooth. The once rough surface is gradually smoothed out, and imperfections are removed one by one. As time passes, the surface of the cylinder head becomes increasingly smooth, emitting a satisfying shine. After the machining on the milling machine is completed, the craftsmen move on to the next crucial step, punching for positioning. Before punching the holes, the craftsmen cleverly use steel shims for comparison, accurately marking the positions of the holes. Then, they employ punch tools to create stable positioning holes. This way, when drilling the holes using a bench drill, it's akin to having a navigation system. The hole positions won't easily deviate. After the holes are punched, the positioning pins will fall into place, firmly establishing their positions. This ensures accuracy when installing the punching dies. Once the dies are securely fixed in place, the next step is to drill the bolt holes for securing the cylinder head. Drilling the bolt holes is relatively straightforward, but fixing the holes for the intake and exhaust pipes, as well as the holes at both ends of the cylinder head, requires more skill and patience. After these holes are drilled, the final touch is to tap threads into them to create precise threading for the bolts. With the drilling work completed, it's time for the craftsmen to grind the valve seats. They skillfully grind out the approximate contours of the valve seats and then, with their exquisite techniques, carve out inclined planes, paving the way for the precise installation of the valves. After the valve seats are initially ground, the cylinder head will be sent to the washing bed for precision work. The surface will be meticulously washed until it becomes as smooth and reflective as a mirror. Once the surface washing is completed, the installation of the valve guides can commence. After the valve guides are installed, it's time for the crucial valve assembly stage. This step is paramount, and before installation, the craftsman will carefully perform a round of polishing to prepare for the valve's perfect fit. After polishing, the craftsman will meticulously reinstall the valves one by one, marking them to ensure correct reassembly later. To ensure that each valve fits tightly, a final meticulous grinding is necessary. When the grinding work is completed, all the efforts yield their rewards, and a perfect engine cylinder head is born. Let's give a round of applause to the skilled craftsmen for their outstanding craftsmanship. Their expertise and skills are truly admirable.